Morocco just eliminated another European giant. Canada just made history. And while everyone's busy watching Messi and Mbappé chase a scoring record, the real story of this World Cup is happening underneath them, and it's about to blow the whole bracket open. Let's start with the number everyone's talking about. Messi has 18 World Cup goals. 18! That's not just a tournament record, that's the all-time record ever in the history of this competition. He passed Miroslav Klose, a mark that stood for 12 years like it was nothing. And Mbappé is sitting right behind him with 16, fully capable of catching up before this thing is over. It's the most must-watch individual race in a generation. I get why it's the headline. Every highlight reel, every pundit panel, every golden boot tracker, all locked on these two, debating who's going to walk away with the record by the time this tournament's done. But here's what nobody's connecting. While we're all staring at the leaderboard, the bracket itself is falling apart underneath them. Germany, four-time champions, tournament favorites on paper, are gone, out, eliminated in the round of 32 by Paraguay, ranked 41st in the world, 31 places below them. That's one of the biggest knockout upsets in modern World Cup history, and it happened on a controversial VAR call that wiped out what should have been the winning goal in extra time. Then the Netherlands, three-time runners-up, a team everyone had penciled into the quarterfinals at minimum, gone too, beaten on penalties by Morocco, who are now playing with the same fearlessness that took them to the semi-finals in Qatar 4 years ago. And then, and this is the part that should be the headline, not a footnote, Canada, co-host nation, first World Cup knockout appearance in their entire history. They beat South Africa, and now they draw Morocco in Houston. Two teams nobody had penciled into their Final Four conversation a month ago, about to fight for a spot deeper into this bracket than anyone predicted either of them would reach. You see the pattern yet? Favorites are dropping. Outsiders are surviving, and it's happening at the exact moment the two biggest stars in the sport are putting on the best individual show of their careers. That's loudly, and almost nobody's listening. Here's why this matters more than the scoring race, even though almost nobody's framing it that way. A World Cup isn't won by individual brilliance sitting in isolation. It's won by surviving the bracket, match after match, with zero margin for a bad night. And right now, that bracket is eating favorites alive. Germany didn't lose because they were bad. They lost because the margins in this tournament have gotten microscopic, and VAR is deciding outcomes that used to be settled by class and squad depth. That Taw header should have stood. Most neutral analysts agree it should have stood. And instead of a battle-tested Germany side advancing into the business end of the tournament with their experience intact, we've got Paraguay, a team that's never threatened anything at this level, still alive, still dreaming, still in the draw, riding a result that will define their footballing history for decades. Same story with the Netherlands. Van Dijk, Koeman, a squad full of Champions League regulars, gone. Beaten in a shootout by a Moroccan side built on belief and Akram Hakimi's brilliance more than raw squad depth. And that's not a knock on Morocco, that's the entire point. They're proving for the second straight World Cup that organization and conviction beats reputation once the margins get this thin. They didn't get lucky in Qatar, they're doing it again with a different cast and the same identity. Disciplined, hard to break down, and absolutely fearless once the game goes to penalties. Now put Canada into that exact same bucket. A co-host with home advantage, a stadium full of their own crowd, and zero historical expectation weighing them down. They've already done something no Canadian men's team has ever done in the history of this competition. They have nothing to lose against Morocco. And if this tournament has taught us anything in the last 48 hours, it's that teams with nothing to lose are exactly the teams winning the biggest moments. Think about what that means for Houston. You've got a host nation playing with house money against a team that's already eliminated one European finalist contender and is building real belief by the match. So here's the uncomfortable question nobody's asking while they're watching Messi highlights on loop. What happens if Morocco beats Canada and just keeps going? What happens if the team that just eliminated a European finalist contender keeps eliminating people round after round? Because if that gets rolling, it changes everything about how the rest of the bracket has to play it. Suddenly, nobody wants that draw, because nobody wants to be the next Germany or the next Netherlands. Meanwhile, Messi and Mbappé still have to navigate this same chaos themselves. Argentina hasn't really been tested yet. They've cruised, rotating their squad and resting their captain when it suited them. France is dealing with their own off-field disruption, with Deschamps only just back in camp after burying his mother. The individual brilliance everyone's fixated on still has to survive a bracket that has already swallowed two genuine giants in the span of a single knockout round. Records don't mean anything if your team doesn't survive long enough to keep setting them. Mbappé can score every goal in the world. If France slips up the way Germany and the Netherlands just did, none of it matters in the only column that counts. The same goes for Messi. 18 goals is history. It is not, on its own, a trophy. Here's my call. Morocco beats Canada. Not narrowly, not on penalties this time. They go through with control, because right now they're playing with more conviction and more tournament pedigree than almost anyone left in the draw. And when that happens, Morocco stops being a feel-good upset story and becomes a team everyone has to start taking seriously as a genuine route to the semifinals, the same disruptive role they played in Qatar that nobody respected until they were one game from the final. And here's the scenario that proves me wrong. If Canada's crowd and home advantage turn Houston into a wall Morocco simply can't break, if the host pressure becomes fuel instead of weight on their shoulders, then this tournament gets its true fairy tale story instead, and the entire chaos narrative flips from Morocco is unstoppable to the hosts are actually for real. Either way, and this is the part that matters, the bracket keeps deciding this World Cup far more than any individual scoring record does, no matter how loud the Golden Boot conversation gets this week. Morocco or Canada? Who actually wins that one? And does it change how seriously you're taking the favorites left in this draw? Drop your call in the comments, because next up, we need to talk about what's actually happening with VAR this tournament and why it might be deciding more games than the players are.